I know Brant Phillips talks about how it took him a lot of sweat and pain and frustration to build $10,000 a month in passive income. So Brant has talked about that. I don't know if you have anything to compare, because when you look at the time and energy and then debt to achieve that, and then compare it to what has been done with EXP and what is being done, what you've done, what Brant's done, what I'm doing now, it's just so much easier.
Yeah. So it was about 12 to 14 months, I surpassed what my rental portfolio residual income was through RevShare. And it didn't take a debt risk, right? So the thing about rental properties is, I mean, what do most people do? They're doing a traditional fix and finance out. Some people call that the BRRRR strategy, right? So they're marketing on the front side. Cost of marketing has gone way up. As you guys know, deals are getting tougher to get, especially in this market. It's insane right now. So a lot of people are spending anywhere $5,000, $10,000 even, I'm hearing, per transaction that they're getting. So that's the first step of the business. You need capital to grow the business. With what we're doing with RevShare, as long as your goals are big enough, you don't need a lot of money. The unique thing is, Chris, to build this organization of almost 1,300 agents, I've run my numbers. I spent less than $30,000 in business expenses over 3.5 years to build this. So when we're talking about these numbers, these are pretty much net numbers. We have an $85 a month fee of cell phones, some traveling expenses, and some dinner expenses, but there's really no expense into it. So on the rental side, you have the acquisition side, capital intensive. You need to spend money. You're taking a risk. You don't know if the deals are coming, when they're coming, how good a deal they're coming, are going to be when they come in. So then you have the second step. You have the acquisition process, which takes money, right? Not just your marketing money, but real money to buy the property. So you're using hard money lenders, private money lenders, IRA investors, things like this. So you're going to usually get into the deal with an interest-only loan. And that's going to start the process. Now you're going to have to fix the house up. You're going to deal with the contractors now, this potential extortion, them walking off the property, ripping you off. And usually it can take, a month to 3 months to do a renovation. And then a lot of times when you're going to go back to refinance out, you got that 6-month seasoning requirement. Then you go do the cash out refi into an amortizing loan. And then you have the management side on the back end. Now you got tenants, toys, and termites, repairs. I mean, we all know what it's like to renovate a house.
Please.
Yeah, put a tenant in there right after you renovated it, and they're all moved in, and the first thing they say is, hey, guess what? My plumbing is not working or something, because you just did, huge renovation, so it can be crazy. So you've got capital risk throughout of it, stress risk throughout of it, and then the time frame to do this. Once you stabilize that property, hopefully you have the equity position in play. So you got a good 20% plus equity position, so you got instant equity when you're done. But the cash flow on a rental property is usually $200 to $400 for most people when they're finally get it kind of stabilized out. And
in this market, it's less than that. It's just part of the evolution of rising prices.
Yeah, but I mean, think about that, guys. So if you let's just look at compensation numbers. We're not comparing a human to a house. We're looking at compensation from residual sides. And so a capping agent at our business model here at EXP is equivalent to $2,800 in residual income for the annual year. So if you divide that by 12, I think it's like $233 a month. So it's pretty much, if you sponsor a capping agent, the cash flow is equivalent to essentially buying a rental property. But how much money does it take to sponsor an agent as compared to control an asset? Nothing in comparison, right? So you're avoiding the slow growth. You're not having that seasoning requirement. You're not having to buy a house, fix it up, renovate it, stabilize it, put a tenant in it, and then manage it. You're just bringing an agent in day one. Now, a capping agent is going to self-sustain themselves because they're a successful business owner. Now, what happens when an agent goes out there and wants to build their business? It's equivalent to a house growing legs and walking down the street and buying other houses for you. So when I sponsored Brant, who's Chris's sponsor, Brant's now sponsored, well over 50 people, I think, in the company. It's at one point, I forget his actual numbers, maybe even more than that. That's like a house going and buying 60 other houses, 50 other houses for you, right? So it's like a house sold by house for you, but also we're leveraging this for an investing business, because this house I'm sitting in, I actually bought from another agent on my team. Her husband found this deal. And I actually had this house funded partially by Chris's sponsor, Brant, who lent on this deal. So there's a lot of synergistic nature on how our businesses overlap. But the acceleration of cash flows, there's never been a way to do it faster than the revenue share model that I know of, with the least with carrying that low risk as well.